Thank you all for having me and having us here. It is a privilege and a pleasure, and I'm grateful to share. What is self-confidence? Where does it come from? How much does it cost if we don't have it? And what is possible when we do?
Alors, qu'est-ce que la confiance en soi? D'où vient-elle? Combien cela coûte si nous ne la possédons pas? Et que deviennent les possibilités lorsque nous en jouissons?
So you may have heard of Steve Jobs. He's the founder of Apple Computer. He said, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. So raise your hand if you'd like to innovate.
Levez la main si vous voulez innover.
Yeah, they got it. Okay. So unfortunately, I've got two pieces of bad news.
C'est génial. Vous êtes à la bonne place, mais malheureusement, j'ai quelques mauvaises nouvelles.
Failure is a part of innovation, perhaps the most important part.
L'échec fait partie de l'innovation, si ce n'en est pas la partie la plus importante.
So, raise your hands if you like to fail.
Levez la main si vous aimez l'échec.
Okay, excellent. You learned fast, maybe, right? This is great. Yeah. Do we want to switch? No? Okay. Yeah. C'est bon. Okay. Okay. So, I have a question. Who has a difficult conversation you know you need to have, but you are avoiding? Raise your hand. Okay, hold on. So keep them raised. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, right. In 2008, there was a study done by a communication company called Vital Smarts. In this study, they found that the cost of a difficult conversation that you didn't have, just one conversation, a difficult conversation, on average was $7,500 or 75,000 dirhams. And for 1 in 5 employees, that cost increased to $50,000 each for a difficult conversation that has yet to be had. Whew, I know. So there was 11, but just approximately 10 people who raised their hands. So either that's perhaps a range, cumulatively, of between 75,000 US dollars to 10, 11, 50, yeah. So that's like 5 million, is that right? Oh, no, 500,000 or 5 million dirhams. So I've got some good news. 5 million, yeah. So I invite you to take a breath. So how can you have the self-confidence to take risks, to innovate, including difficult discussions? I would say by being a true leader. Well, what is a true leader? That's a great question. And I asked myself this, and I asked another question. Well, what connects the great leaders of all time across space and culture? People like Martin Luther King, or Gandhi, or maybe like Richard Branson, or Oprah, or Elon Musk. But more importantly, what is the thing that each of us can do to be a great leader in our own way? So I'll share the definition of a true leader, but I'd like to share a little story. So in 2013, I was invited to speak and do a workshop around leadership in a community gathering, or a gathering of community leaders, rather. And there was someone who attended this gathering. He was an Army commander, and he and I had a good connection. However, I did not anticipate that at the end of the gathering, he actually stood up in front of 250 leaders, and he said, I would put Mathias's definition of a true leader on page 1 of the Army manual. My jaw hit the floor. Oh my gosh. So, would you like to know? Would you like to hear the definition? Okay, so I will also preface that this has just been adjusted. We did some awesome work with Omar. Omar is an amazing communicator, so thank you, Omar. Okay. So, a true leader is simply someone who is authentic. Someone who has a simple vision. And someone who understands their own needs and the needs of others. So how can you understand your own needs? I had this question, so can I go back and share a little bit about my story? Yeah. So I worked for 4 years at Yale University. And at the end of that, I really asked myself, well, what is my true purpose? And what do I need to be a happy human? So with that question, I moved to an island, and I essentially slept in a tent for a year. So there's the 4 years at Yale. What was my true purpose? Okay, there it is. That's it, actually. Do you know the Pacific Northwest? It's near Seattle, where Microsoft is from. Yeah, it's just an island close off there. And so then I thought, what's a true need? Great. So what I got inspired to write was that which is required for a satisfying life, and that which is required to understand and use your true potential. So, on one ways, you could say, everyone on the planet is the same. We all want to have a place to sleep, good work and family, and good friends, good food. And at the same time, everybody's different. We all have different potential, different goals and dreams. And so then what we need is different to achieve those. So, for example, if you want to be a professional soccer player, you might start off with a soccer ball, maybe 100 dirhams. Let's say you love space and you want to go to Mars. That will only be about 2,000 dirhams, but that is actually the amount per person that's estimated when they start, Elon Musk starts sending rockets to Mars. There he is, Elon. So Elon had a little bit of a difficult challenge at a certain point. He had 3 rockets that crashed. And the money that he made from PayPal and one of his companies, he was a millionaire by that time, he put it all on the table. So much so that he had to borrow money from his friends to pay rent. So, yeah, it's a wild thing. So now he was able to get through, and he is running 3 multi-billion-dollar companies. Exactly. Yes. So, let's kind of compare that with this idea of a true leader. Someone is authentic? Yeah. Okay, someone who has well, you could say maybe a simple vision, a civilization on 2 planets, right? And someone who understands their own needs and the needs of others. So, my question is, who do you know that is authentic? Who do you know who has a simple and clear vision? And who do you know who understands their own needs and the needs of others? And really, ultimately, that's weird. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not about the size of the vision. It's how true you are to it that counts. That is what makes a successful innovator. That is what makes a true leader. Thank you. So I know this is a lot of deep things. It's concentrated, right? So I'd love to just get a sense about what you're left with. Sorry, what you got from that? Do you have any questions or feedback? Mm. Mm.
Okay, the question.
Mm. Mm.
So the question would be, how could we be sure that we understand our own needs
Uh-huh.
and needs of others?
Uh-huh.
And would it
Mm-hmm.
okay, and being aware that our needs are constantly evaluated, and that
Mm-hmm.
this is not the process that should be the most important.
Mm. I totally agree, and that's why it's the third piece. When someone is authentic, and then they have a clear vision, when those 2 pieces are in place, understanding or having a clearer understanding of what you require, whether it's on a personal standpoint or whether it's on a business plan, that's a natural, that's a kind of a natural process. Does that help? Does that make sense? And also, actually, I'll say is that because we're having this conversation, the original piece that I wrote for that third, because we did this, we wanted to optimize it, is that which is to be able to understand what you truly need and to be able to ask and receive it from both yourself and others. That's actually what came through. So it's this dialogue of, in your first question, how do you know, right? It's being able to have that process of asking an inquiry, saying, hey, how are you doing? Hey, how am I doing? Am I giving myself enough time for, just the personal things that I enjoy? It could be a cup of tea in the morning, or maybe a run on, ein diab. Yes. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 That's a great question. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is it more than how you will attract them to be in alignment with your own vision? If I understood.
Mm. Okay. So how is it possible to align them with, to have people and have that alignment?
Yeah, and I will add according to their own needs and their own goals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in a way, I would say that that's a process of conversation, and to really explore that. And, so sometimes we're not, sometimes it's not exactly clear. And, but the thing is that when we have the courage to do that, to start this inquiry, then we have the opportunity to, start to have the possibility to innovate. So, for example, let's take this from a customer-facing standpoint, right? What are the needs and the requirements of the customers? Right? How is that changing? Or are they the same in terms of the, in terms of, for example, like blockchain technologies, right? You have the ability to have a lot of the financial transactions happen, faster and more efficiently. And, Omar talked about that he was so excited about the mobile application for CIH Bank, right? So these are steps in the right direction. So I'd love to hear what opportunities that you see to engage, customers in addition to, for example, like the mobile banking. And we'll actually get more into this after the break as we continue this discussion. Yes.